Hello and welcome to a rather breezy Trent Lock near Long Eaton, also known as Watersmeet, and I'll tell you why later in the programme. Now, our first story is a powerful one. A young woman called Liz has bravely agreed to tell us about the worst moment in her life and how a rape crisis centre in Leicester brought her back from the brink. The trouble is, the charity itself is now facing problems because of a 90% cut in funding. Well, Liz has been finding out how survivors like her are fighting to ensure the centre's future is safe.
I was a really outgoing person. I used to go out all the time. And now it's a whole different life for me. It's changed a lot. I was 20 years old. I was sexually assaulted. I went home that night and I sat in the shower crying my eyes out because they took away my innocence and the life that I thought I was living, the life I was happy with. The shame of it, the burden. And then I had to tell my mum and to have to tell her that I can't cope, that this is what's happened to me while living on my own. It was not a nice thing to have to do. The police basically said to me that they couldn't do anything for me, that my story wouldn't hold up in court with all the evidence that I had. And the only thing they actually did do for me is that they referred me to Jasmine House.
Tucked away on a residential street in Leicester is a place which on the outside looks nothing out of the ordinary. But on the inside, Jasmine House is a safe haven for women who've been sexually assaulted.
Nightmares about what happened, flashbacks, panic attacks, anxiety, feelings of guilt about what happened. It can be really isolating and really life-changing and not for the better.
For 30 years, this home has been offering women free counselling to help deal with their trauma. Liz came here 2 years ago for therapy.
I needed that counselling to change my life so that I knew how to live again.
We run on an absolute shoestring and the bulk of our work is done by volunteers. We see approximately 450 women each year. That number increases year on year, so we're busy and we're busy all the time.
But despite the invaluable work the charity does, Jasmine House has seen its funding fall by 80%, and last year it was on the verge of closing.
If we weren't here, it's unthinkable really where people would go.
We would kind of expect from you to be here at least 2 hours per week.
Maggie is a volunteer coordinator and trains new counsellors at Jasmine House.
So, what do you do at Jasmine House and how did you get to being at Jasmine House?
Yeah, I was a survivor like you, and I thought I want to give something back to the Jasmine House and to the clients of Jasmine House, because I know how this place can change the life.
Jasmine House did so much for me. They basically saved my life. So what can I do to give back now?
You can spare your time to work for us and help us. You can do fundraising. The volunteers, they are the heart of the organization, so without their help, we wouldn't exist.
Maggie's absolutely amazing. The fact that she's a survivor and she's then gone and taken that a step further and gone back to Jasmine House to go and support them and volunteer is amazing.
The reality is nearly 500,000 adults are sexually assaulted each year, and around 80,000 turn to rape crisis for counselling. But for some, help never comes. Liz is heading to London to meet a woman who was raped when she was on a gap year abroad. For Fern, the emotional scars are still raw.
I approached 3 different rape crisis centres in London, and over a period of 6 months I couldn't get myself onto a waiting list once. Each time I approached them, they told me the waiting list is closed and I needed to try again. And that was definitely when I just completely cascaded through rock bottom. Where else was I supposed to turn? So for me, I need to do something. I need to do what we're doing now. I need to get it out there because I need people to understand just how difficult it is.
To hear Fern's story is absolutely heartbreaking. To know that there are women and girls out there that are not getting the help that they need. How widespread is this problem?
Rape crisis services have always been underfunded. That's a chronic, ongoing issue. But right now, the situation is possibly more dire than it's ever been. There are around 6,000 people waiting for our specialist services across England and Wales alone at the moment. So we need dedicated, centralised government funding to meet current need and demand immediately.
Liz wants to give something back to Jasmine House.
Thank you very much for coming and sitting at the front. We won't pick on you at all.
She's found a comedy night in Leicester, which has agreed to let her fundraise.
Every little does help. I mean, they're not guaranteed funding every year, so this service could disappear at any time and women would have nowhere really to go.
Give as generously as you can for Jasmine House, please.
It's very nice to spend a lot of time with women and men and be able to just spread awareness in a nice, light-hearted way.
We were actually best friends for 7 years before we got married, and now we're just friends.
Hello, Liz.
Back at Jasmine House, and Liz is dropping off the money she raised at last night's comedy gig.
Oh, thank you.
And I've also got you the money.
Oh, fantastic.
But there's a surprise waiting for her.
There's somebody else here at the moment who might want to see you, so say hello.
Liz hasn't seen her counsellor since her treatment.
Oh, bless you. Are you okay? Are you? Are you sure? Oh, bless you.
My counsellor was amazing. She knows she changed my life.
Every little bit of fundraising by volunteers like Liz is what keeps the house going. And luckily this year, the charity won money from the big lottery fund, which has given it some breathing space.
That has been a lifesaver for this service. We'd like to see this place closed down, not because we haven't got any funding, but because there isn't any need. But I think that day's a long way in the future, unfortunately.
Jasmine House means to me my life. It gave me my life back.